This is the leading news from the Albuquerque Journal. I'm Gino Gutierrez. It's Thursday, August 13th. Here's what we're covering on today's episode. A new state analysis is raising questions about the effectiveness of New Mexico's National Guard deployments in Albuquerque and the Espanola area. The Legislative Finance Committee found the state's roughly $22.9 million investment has not produced clear, measurable impacts on crime. In Albuquerque, crime metrics have changed little, while comparable data wasn't available for Rio Arriba County. The report also found outstanding warrants remain steady and calls for service in the county increased. The governor's office disputes the assessment, pointing to thousands of arrests, firearm seizures, and recovered stolen vehicles in Rio Arriba County, as well as declines in overdose deaths and emergency room visits. The National Guard says its role has primarily been supporting law enforcement with tasks such as traffic control, medical assistance, and administrative work. Officials in both Albuquerque and Espanola say that the support has allowed sworn officers to focus more on policing. The Albuquerque Police Union, however, called the deployment a temporary fix to a permanent staffing problem, questioning whether the millions spent would be better used to recruit more officers. There's currently no end date for the National Guard deployment in Rio Arriba County. The Frijoles fire in northern New Mexico has grown to about 7,800 acres, making it the largest active wildfire in the state. Fire growth slowed across most of the blaze on Tuesday, but stronger activity along the northern edge drove much of the fire's 1,800-acre overnight expansion. Firefighters are building containment lines near Chimayo, Terra Piñon, Goron Boy Scout Ranch, and Cundayo. Some residents were also evacuated from Cundayo on Monday. Crews are also protecting homes with sprinklers, water supplies, and heavy equipment. Smoke from the fire is affecting air quality in Santa Fe and Taos, with Santa Fe Public Schools canceling outdoor recess and sports practices. Health officials are also urging residents to stay indoors when the smoke levels are high. Cundayo and Cerro Peñon remain to set evacuation status, while nearby Cordova is under ready status. A California-based incident management team will take control of the fire today as additional resources arrive. An emergency shelter for evacuees is currently open at Pojoaque Valley Middle School. New Mexico health officials say the state's childhood vaccine recommendations will remain unchanged, following a Trump administration executive order calling for fewer vaccines and more spacing between shots. Dr. Miranda Durham, chief medical officer for the New Mexico Department of Health, says the state will continue following the American Academy of Pediatrics schedule and recommending 17 vaccines, including shots for hepatitis, flu, and COVID-19. The executive order reduced the federal list to 11 vaccines and called for separating the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine into 3 shots. New Mexico will also continue giving the combined MMR vaccine. Durham says splitting the vaccine provides no safety benefit and would mean more doctor visits and shots for children. She also says Medicaid and private insurance will continue covering childhood vaccines in the state. With U.S. measles cases at a 35-year high and flu season approaching, health officials are urging families to keep children protected and consult their doctors if they have questions. A newly released study by the National Nuclear Safety Administration says the U.S. stockpile of weapons-grade plutonium is aging, but not yet at a rate that affects the performance of nuclear weapons. The study was released publicly after Nuclear Watch New Mexico sued the Trump administration for access to the report. The Santa Fe nonprofit argues the findings challenge a key justification for producing more plutonium pits to replace the aging ones. An independent Jason study says plutonium appears to be aging slowly and that observed degradation does not currently call into question the performance of existing weapons. However, it recommends continued monitoring and further research. The National Nuclear Safety Administration says the study supports its position that more research is needed and argues it would be irresponsible to delay plans for expanded plutonium pit production that's mandated by Congress. The U.S. nuclear stockpile contains about 3,748 warheads, according to a 2023 National Nuclear Safety Administration report. Most were built before 1992, when the U.S. stopped underground nuclear testing. The U.S. has since relied on laboratory research and monitoring to assess how plutonium is changing as it ages. New Mexico needs an estimated 58,000 new housing units to address its ongoing shortage, and a new report says speeding up the permitting process could help ease that gap. HomeWise and George Mason University's Mercatus Center released a report on Wednesday calling for reforms to make housing approvals more predictable and efficient. One major recommendation is by expanding by-right development, which allows projects to meet established standards to receive administrative approval without going through multiple public hearings and boards. The report's authors say discretionary reviews can delay projects and create uncertainty for builders, driving up costs for homes that are already becoming less affordable. The report also called for clearer zoning standards reports, tracking permitting times, and identifying bottlenecks. It highlights Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Rio Rancho, Farmington, and other New Mexico communities as already adopting some of these practices. HomeWise also recommends state and local governments help pay for infrastructure needed before housing can be built, particularly for affordable projects. The report's authors say many of the proposed reforms could be implemented in the upcoming 60-day legislative session. And Albertsons has voluntarily pulled 59 store-made products containing jalapenos from its New Mexico stores because of a potential salmonella contamination. The recall affects grab-and-go and deli items including pico de gallo, guacamole, salsa, breakfast pizzas, and quesadillas. The products contain jalapenos linked to a U.S. Food and Drug Administration recall involving distributor Coast Citrus. Albertsons operates 24 Albertsons Market locations across New Mexico, along with Market Street stores in Rio Rancho and Santa Fe. The affected products have sell-by dates ranging from mid-July through mid-August. Salmonella can cause diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, and other symptoms. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, symptoms can begin anywhere from 6 hours to 6 days after infection and last up to a week. Customers who purchase the affected products should not eat them, and Albertsons say they can be discarded or returned to the store for a full refund. Other retails, including Trader Joe's, Walmart, Smith's, and Target, have already pulled products tied to the jalapeno recall. The leading news is powered by the journalism of the Albuquerque Journal. If you enjoy hearing all of the stories we share with you here daily, please consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Journal by utilizing the discount code in our show notes. Every subscription helps support local journalism and allows us to provide you with the news that matters to you. Now taking a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast. Today you can expect isolated showers and thunderstorms after 3 p.m., partly sunny with a high near 93. As for this evening, scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected mainly before 9 p.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 64. To keep up with all the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal, you can visit our website at abqjournal.com. That's the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. We'll be back tomorrow.